Thank you guys for watching Rankings Reaction presented by Allstate. Let's take a look at the Allstate playoff predictor. Some of the seeding favors others. Here are the favorites to win it all, according to our Allstate playoff predictor. Ohio State, despite just losing to Indiana, still favored.
That's crazy.
Over Indiana, that's 41% to
17 for Georgia is a little shocking.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought they would be a little bit higher up there. So was Texas Tech. So clearly we like the Big Ten and how they match up. But there's no doubt that Ohio State and Indiana have done some impressive things throughout the year.
Yeah, only one. Do you notice only one SEC team there?
Well, and that's the thing. So we started at the back end of the bracket here because that's where a lot of the debate has been. But let's kind of shift our attention to the 4 teams that got byes here. We can start here in the Big Ten championship game because, again, I mentioned it. Once I saw Ohio State stay put at number 2 and not drop below Georgia at number 3, I pretty much knew Alabama was going to be in the field. When you look at Indiana, you look at Ohio State, they just matched up in that game in the Big Ten championship. Going forward, what do you make of the prospects of them potentially meeting again, like in this thing? I think that would be a great matchup.
I think it would be a great matchup. I think there's a high probability of it too, and I just think that for a national scene as well, right? You know, you guys have been hearing me all year just kind of bang the drum for Indiana and just my belief in this football team. I question a little bit sometimes the simplicity of their offense, but there's no doubt you can't question the toughness and the fact that they execute in big time moments. Signetti said it earlier today, right? The losses to Ohio State, the losses to Notre Dame last year proved to be huge things for their growth of their program, and it has showed. Fernando Mendoza last night showed the difference between experience versus the inexperienced Julian Sayin and just being in a lot of games, right, where he has toughed out and gritted out games. We saw that, right? And the fact that this Indiana defense and just how well they played, Hardy, Fisher, Kamara, Jones, that linebacker unit that we saw from them. We see the physicality. We see that they can get after the passer. Getting Julian Sayin down to the ground 5 times in that game is impressive.
Julian Sayin was sacked 7 times the entire
was it 7?
season.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought 5 yesterday.
No. He was sacked 5 times in the game.
Yeah.
He was sacked 7 times
there you go.
the whole season
there you go.
leading into that game.
They're bad dudes. All right, that's what I got to say.
So when you talk about the pass rush, the interior defensive and offensive line, that was the difference in this game.
Yeah.
And Sam, last night you asked a question, how did Indiana do it compared from last year until this year? And I think the boys up front is the way that they were able to do it. You have a front that can compete with Ohio State and put more pressure on their quarterback.
Yeah.
This was a heavyweight fight. I think we still need to remember that Ohio State missed a field goal, and they went
Indiana.
for it.
Indiana missed a field goal too.
And they went for it on 4th down.
Shot, but yeah.
Went for it on 4th down and ended up coming up short, which, by the way, I don't know why you're having Julian Sayin your small-leg quarterback, as you like to say, run that tush push up the middle.
Put on Matty.
But
yeah, I mean,
it's the truth. It's just like those boys up front battled.
Let me ask you guys this, because I do think that Georgia had a case, and it does matter when you look at the byes and who you're matched up with going forward. Georgia, I think, had a case to be at that number 2 spot and for Ohio State to go below them. When you look at Ohio State's best win, came against Texas by 7 points. That was the same Texas team that Georgia demolished 35-10 a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Ohio State's strength of schedule is 46. Georgia is 25. So I think that there is a case for Georgia to be in that 2 spot, who you would be matched up with the winner of Miami, Texas A&M versus a Tulane Ole Miss at that 3 spot.
Yeah, I mean, it actually works out, the fact that they are in the 3 spot as far as just the way that the bracket lines up.
The 3 spot is where you want to be.
But I would agree with you. I do think that they earned the right to be the number 2 team in the country with the way that they dismantled Alabama, the way that this defense has improved. And for Ohio State, that was really for, I think, a lot of us, right, who have been kind of on the fence as far as, like, how good are they, right? We, of course, the same thing with Notre Dame. The eye test shows me that Ohio State's one of the best teams in the country, one of the best front sevens in the country, other than maybe Texas Tech. But at the same time, we did see a team finally kind of just say, you know, hey, we're not going to be bullied by you. And that's the biggest thing. Indiana was not intimidated by Ohio State. You could see that they were trying to, you know, get under their skin, trying to get them into, you know, doing some things that maybe are uncharacteristic of a Signetti football team. Yeah. But you could just see that Indiana's growth from those 2 losses last year were the difference. Georgia is a scary football team. You could definitely make the case of them being the number 2 team.
Shout out to everybody in the YouTube chat. I'm taking a look over there. DG990 said OSU and Indiana proved that they are both overrated. I don't know if I'll agree with that. Yeah, I think underrated. I would disagree with that. Everybody continue to put in your comments. We will try to address them in the show as we go along. But I hear you guys on Georgia being at number 2. But last night when we did the rankings, I kind of lean in the direction of having Ohio State at number 2.
Right.
Now, I think that you got to look at it from this situation. Ohio State lost to Indiana. Their only loss of the season is in the Big Ten championship against what is now the number 1 team in the entire country.
Right.
And it happened by 3 points in the 13-10 game. That is their only blemish on their record. To punish a team and put them back 2 spots is a little bit of an overreaction, which we have seen the committee do. They have overreacted when they pushed Alabama all the way back. They pushed Miami all the way back, right? We see, and they pushed Texas A&M.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama lost by 2, and they moved 6 places.
Yeah, exactly. So we have seen them overreact.
Yeah.
But I think if you look at what Georgia did in terms of their only loss of the season, it was at home versus Alabama, and Alabama was like 12 for 12 on 3rd down to start the game, or something like that. So it was definitely. You can make a case, but I'm okay with Ohio State at 2.
I think some people are not going to be okay with James Madison getting in the field. But now that they are in the field, they have to go out to face Oregon out west. And Dan Lanning, remember what happened to this Oregon team the last time that they were in the college football playoff, blown out after a perfect season by the eventual national champions, Ohio State. The winner of this game is going to be matched up with Texas Tech, who, Maddie, I know you are very high on, and a team that you think has a championship caliber defense and offense subsequently that can help them win. But talk about this James Madison and Oregon game, and also talk about maybe an Oregon-Texas Tech matchup and what that might look like.
I think the biggest thing for James Madison, how do you just handle the environment and everything that they're going to throw at you, right? I mean, it's going to be just a whole nother level of just crowd noise, right? Managing the expectations of your football team, right? Playing sharp early, right? So it's really kind of just like, can you keep it together for the first quarter
That's a different
and a
type
half
of
of the
speed
game?
they're going to see right now.
Yeah, hey, Malik Benson is no joke. I mean, Whittington, Hill, Davison, the whole running back room there at Oregon, Kenyon Sadiq, of course. Dante Moore has really, I think, grown exponentially here in the month of November, and they have seemed to put a little bit more on him. Now, the question is just like, where's the focus of Oregon? Maybe that's their one weakness, right? With Lupo and Stein moving on to their respective jobs going forward, is there distraction involved? There's other teams as well in the field that have to manage those exact same things. So is that an advantage for James Madison to take advantage? Possibly. Ultimately, I think this is a little bit of a different class of a game for them. The physicality and the speed of the game. Would not be shocked, though, if Oregon wins this football game pretty handily.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. JMU, the 123 strength of schedule for me is really what stands out. You have not seen this level of opponent. Can you handle the heat that's in the kitchen? Because I think it's going to be real hot for JMU when they have to go on the road to Oregon, go against Dante Moore. This team has had some time to recover. I know they had some injuries on the offensive side of the ball, but it's hard in college to get updates on injuries, but I think they'll be healthier. They'll be ready for this. And it's going to be a different level of competition for JMU, speed, physicality, all that. This is an Oregon team that can run the ball really well.
Yeah.
And with Dan Lanning, I think he's just going to shove it down their throat. This is a team that's rushed for over 280 yards against Iowa. They've rushed the ball really well against some tough fronts, and I expect the same here against JMU.
I just think of Bob Chesney, like, preparing for this game, looking at the tape and seeing Kenyon Sadiq and being like, what do we do with that?
Yeah.
Like that, that is
the linebacker playing tight end.
They've never seen anything.
Yeah.
All due respect to the Sun Belt, but like that's a different league.
What is the choice that they're going to make, right? Is it going to be, do we want to die by 1,000, paper cuts, right? Or do we want to get our head chopped off? That's going to be like kind of the question.
Shotgun.
So just like that'll be kind of that discussion that you have as a coach of just like, do we want to be overly aggressive and try to force them to make errors, or do we try to play it safe and just hang in there as long as we can?
I will say this because Tyler Crummy Baseball just said the G5 needs its own national championship tournament separate than the CFP. They just can't compete with the Power 4 conferences. They aren't the best 12 teams in the country.
That's a whole other. We could do a whole other show.
That is a whole other
that,
discussion.
But the point well taken.
But I hear you,
goes
Tyler.
back again
I hear you.
to the Notre Dame problem with that same
Sure.
thing, right? The reason why Notre Dame isn't in is just because they have no conference or help.
All right, fans, check out ESPN.com/All-State Playoff Predictor to check out your team's chances at making the College Football Playoff National Championship. You can also run through the bracket like we are about to do here on the College Football Show, doing our Rankings Reaction Show here. Again, you're watching Rankings Reaction presented by All-State.
You want this, you got that. No way, watch them walk right past you. Run fast while you have the chance. Don't speak, let them look right at you.